I'd love to utilize arm drags, and there's really two big reasons as to why I feel arm drags are probably something that everyone should utilize when it comes to grappling. One, it exposes your opponent's back, and two, it completely disrupts their offensive game. We're gonna go over 4 different positions that you can utilize an arm drag from, obviously starting from standing, and we'll work all the way down to the ground. Now, a couple things to understand when we are arm dragging. Number one, the arm drag itself, and I see a lot of newer people doing this, it is not the sense that I'm pulling his arm into my chest. I have to expose the back, and that's the main purpose of an arm drag. So when you are grip fighting all this, eventually I have to get same side wrist control so that I can utilize that control to direct the arm where I want it to go, which in this case is to my opposite hand. I grab behind the tricep, higher the better, and as I pull, I'm not pulling again into my chest, but I'm actually just pulling straight across my body, because as I pull across my body, it magically starts to expose the back. Now, number 2 of the arm drags is we have to utilize that space to get off on an angle. So again, as I arm drag, even though I'm pulling across, I'm not necessarily standing here. I also want to scoot off a little bit just to create space for him to fall into. The caveat to that is that I have to close that space immediately with my chest, all right? Because if I just sit here, even if I have a great arm drag, he's gonna come right back. So the purpose is that once you've created that space, I now fill that space with my chest. And then now if we're working the arm drag from standing, I can use that opposite arm, grab the back lat, the opposite lat, and as he starts trying to square up, we're gonna play a little bit of ring around Rosie, but I can start working towards and get a full back take from there. That's pretty much like the general idea of arm drags. And then obviously now, since we are kind of starting in the standing position, it's just that idea of once you have the arm drag, up here. Then again, even if I start off onto the side like this and I kind of just lock him down, I can work and shimmy around to the back. And then from here, we have endless amounts of different takedown options from there. Now, another way that you can, at least from the standing position, that you can position yourself for this arm drag is instead of stepping in and closing that gap that way, I'm actually going to follow the arm drag. So I'm going to turn my body with him. But again, I'm going to get right behind that shoulder. So now, in this case, like a lot of times I'll utilize this type of position if I'm going for a 2-on-1. So if I'm looking to get directly to the back, I'm going to come into his shoulder, into the armpit, and lock up this way. If I'm looking to just kind of get that 2-on-1, just so you can see it from this angle, as I pull, I'm going to step into him. And again, I've now utilized my body to close that gap. So if he tries pulling his arm back, my body's there. And then from here, I can fully lock up on the 2-on-1 and we can take him down that way. Now let's kind of assume that we're in a little bit of like an open guard. Maybe I'm sitting up here still. I haven't maybe come all the way back. But now again, understand that this guy's gonna start looking to hand fight. He's gonna look, his goal is going to be to, exactly, get my posture broken, get my back down to the mat, start lifting up the hips and everything so that he can start looking to pass. So again, as we're doing this, a lot of times I'll start kind of pulling down on the head, reaching for the heads, hand fighting a little bit because I'm trying to initiate a hand fight. So again, his hands start reaching out. If he's keeping his hands T-Rex arms, I don't want to sit here and reach in, all right? So I need to do stuff to kind of get him engaging with me. Now, once he starts engaging, notice the elbows are now exposed. So again, we're going to set up the arm drag. I get control of the wrist, and we start feeding it to the opposite arm. But again, the key detail, I have to create space because if I just pull, I'm pulling them right into my lap. So once I start getting the arm drag initiated, I'm going to now take my free hand. I can post it on the mat. My same side leg is also going to step out. So a lot of times I'll leave this leg to the inside. And now as I pull, same time that I pull, I'm also scooting my hips. Now I've created a big void for him to fall. So once we do this all together, I can get him to fall completely. Now, notice I've got the bottom hook in so I can easily secure that, come up, and I can start looking to secure the back in this way. I can either pressure into him, we can start looking far grips, I can start pulling him right back into my hip if we need to. So you do have options from there. Because he is also standing, I can also utilize this to kind of set up an ankle pick, but same idea, I gotta create space. So this time as I scoot, I'm going to quickly switch that hand now to grab the bottom ankle. And as I start pulling up on the ankle and pulling down on the arm drag, I just kind of completely drive them through, and then from there we can start pressure passing, looking to get side control. Now guard, there's kind of 2 options for this one. You can do one more of like a muscle forcing arm drag, and then the other one I'm going to kind of create the space. So again, understand that we're in guard, and we'll cover this in a more depth video, but his job is going to be looking to posture the whole time they're in guard. That's really his #1 focus, is the posture, so that he can work on getting out and escaping. So my job is to constantly break this posture down, which means that as he starts posting, this is where I'm gonna now start looking to set up the arm drag. So the first option is, again, I want to simply get this arm cross body. Now, if we're going from like an arm drag perspective, I'm getting control of the wrist, I'm getting control of the arm here. Now, a lot of times when I go to pull, I might stay squared up with him, and I'm just gonna quickly arm drag this across and just kind of hug him and hold him down. Because now from here, again, I've got the arm across my body, so the only thing that he can do to escape is to work this arm back across. So when I'm sitting here, as he starts scrambling, now I'm gonna make sure that I get a good grip. At this point, I might open up my guard, post either on the mat or post on his hips so that I can work my hips off-centered, and then from here, I can slowly kind of start working up into a back take. So this one's a little bit more of a forced arm drag because I'm not really moving, I'm just ripping this arm across and we go from there. If we're looking to do a little bit more of the technical arm drag, or like what we've been covering in the previous two positions, I want to make sure that I move my body at the same time so that I kind of get him to abruptly fall onto the mat. Now, when I do that, again, I'm going to start looking for him to start posting, and we're going to be hand fighting a little bit. When I'm ready, again, get control of the wrist, get control of this arm. Once I've transitioned it, same time that as I start to pull the arm drag, at this point I'm going to open up the guard, and I'm actually going to now completely scoot my hips off to the side and just kind of get them to fall. And again, I'm going to come up and close the gap all at the same time. And now at this point, again, get your grips. I've got this bottom hook or bottom cross hook still, so I'm going to start pulling them in. And then obviously from here, we've posted videos on some of these arm drags before, or back takes from this position before. But at this point, again, I can start scooting, looking to lock them up there. Or if he starts trying to fight and stay and kind of just buckle down a little bit, I can just come up and take the back that way. But you have the option from guard to either just force the arm across, lock on, and then slowly take the back, or we do it a little bit more of a technical way. Last but not least, we have half guard. And again, we did just do a whole video on half guards, 2 back takes, but let's just kind of understand again for the arm drag purpose of this. Once we're in this half guard, I need to make sure I have a good solid knee shield. If he gets this knee shield down and he starts smothering me, there's no arm drag here. So my first job is to ensure that I can get a quality knee shield that I can apply pressure on. Now, as I'm applying this pressure, he's gonna start looking to fight that knee shield. Once this hand starts posting on my leg, get control of the wrist. Same time that I'm feeding it to this hand, I'm also going to kick that leg through, because now notice when I kick that leg through, there's a big gap here. So as I push into him and I feel him start pushing back, that's my cue to go, grab the wrist. As he's pressuring in, I kick the leg through, feed it to my hand, and again, I pull him right inside that empty space and I close the gap right away. And then obviously from here, we look to take the back the same exact way. So there you have it, arm drag from 4 different positions. Again, it's one of the best ways to expose the back. It's a phenomenal way to just kind of completely disrupt your opponent's offensive, because even if you aren't looking to take the back, it just kind of keeps them on guard a little bit, because they start going from playing with their hands out here to slowly tightening everything, which means that they're not attacking you at the same time. So start learning how to utilize arm drags and understand that you can pretty much hit them from just about anywhere. Give it a shot.